said the panels are wider than maybe you're thinking. I don't know. Does it matter?
And we can get any
It's
brand if you know.
It's all flexible.
If you know what that was, by my calculations, we have to lose one panel off each row just to fit the width.
We're still, given the fact that they're bigger, it's gonna offset it probably pretty comparable. Square footage is gonna be comparable with square footage.
Okay.
As far as like the area, it's gonna be for the capacity.
And so, Rudy, for construction purposes, they'll provide the permits for solar.
Okay.
Yeah,
Both for
it's
the
full
electrical,
turnkey, everything
yeah.
we do.
So I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, and they'll pull the wire, and it's their own crew that installs the solar panels, so it's not like subbed out.
What about also the inverter and the batteries? Are y'all cool with the kind of scope that we were kind of talking about?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we quoted them was exactly what you spec'd, minus those 3 panels.
Interesting. Okay, that's great.
Yeah, so the whole thing is theirs to do.
Sure.
So we don't have to worry about subs or anything like that.
And this is a quick, easy. This is
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
me likey.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the only question was if we had to identify circuits that would be on the system in some way.
Yeah, so she was talking about doing the master bedroom suite and the kitchen.
Right, and the appliances. There's
But
a
yeah,
couple
I
of
mean,
appliances
in this area.
It can be set up one of 2 ways. It can be set up for what they consider whole home backup. It's not a good idea.
Right, exactly.
But it theoretically can provide you,
Have 15 batteries.
an intercept to the whole home. The problem there is you're still limited on how many amps you can draw at any given moment, and an air handler kicks on or something kicks on, and the whole system can get overloaded and shut
Surged,
down.
yeah.
So typically, what you do is pull as you're putting together your main panels. You separate off one panel for your critical loads, the things that you really, really want.
Right.
And then we only power that panel. The rest of the house goes dark.
Yeah.
And we're only powering that one panel. That's the much safer, smarter way to do it.
And then from that panel, from the primary, then you have the secondary where it goes to whatever, so it's routed accordingly to what's critical. I think Toner and Ryan and my only concern was that for future reference, because what we kind of like this for posterity is that if after 18 months or only 12 months, if you see that there needs to be tweaks or anything, that's what I love about the solar power generally. And I know you guys kind of roll this way too. If we need to add panels in different areas, it's actually rather easy. And I just want to make sure that whatever that's the only reason I like having a limited scope, because it's kind of a litmus test for, because everybody lives in their houses differently. And I just want to have it so it's arranged so that if she needs to add more panels and then add more load to draw from, we can do it.
So do we want an entirely separate electrical panel then, that this is devoted to the solar portion?
Well, that's
Typically,
We do that?
it's kind of like what he
that's
just said in so many words.
So we can have some extra spaces on there that if I add, but then we can identify it as separate. Yeah, so the appliances, what about the elevator? I didn't think about that.
I don't think you would put the elevator on.
Elevators are going to draw a lot. Motors pull a lot of power. So if you can
So
avoid
during
having that
a
on
storm,
there,
I need to bring mom downstairs
Yes.
beforehand.
Probably.
Right?
I would probably do that anyway.
Yeah.
I would do
Because
that.
she'll be stuck up there.
I would do that anyway,
Okay.
regardless of if we had the elevator
Yeah.
on power or
During
not.
a storm, come downstairs.
Just to be safe.
Okay.
But that's just me.
Yeah.
Thinking of my own mom.
Yeah. Okay. Good point.
So then that just needs to get communicated to Brian, the supervisor for the electrician, to wire those panels accordingly.
That's right.
yeah. So you just need to identify exactly which loads you want to be in that backup panel. Put them in that separate sub panel, and then our connection will basically be between the main panel and that sub panel. We kind of hook in there.
So since there's like this flexibility where you could be using some of the solar generated energy, you could be selling some back to the grid, you could store your energy in your batteries, and you can configure your system that sometimes you're using all your battery power, grid's down, right? Can you set it up where the solar panels and the battery are just always the items that are fueling the power for those areas? that anything extra that I wire the house with is on, I'm using power from the grid.
Correct me if I'm wrong, I thought the whole point usually, is that you always have your batteries topped off.
Yes.
Just in case.
Yes.
And then anything, once they're topped off, they're not drawing as much. So anything that's above that is going back to the grid.
Right.
Right.
She was asking earlier about using it to offset time of use. So you can configure them two different ways. You can configure them to always be at basically 100%, so it's ready for that scenario. But you can also say, you know what, I want my batteries to kick on at 8 o'clock at night and discharge every day.
Yes.
That gets you sort of more use of your batteries.
Right.
That
Is
in
that
the long
healthy
term,
for the
well,
battery? To
they're
be-
gonna wear out after 8 or 10 years anyway.
Okay.
So it's not gonna make a huge difference. That gives you more value from your battery because
Right.
then you're able to consume more of what you're generating.
That sounds better to
The
me.
downside is if you've just been through a night and you've run down your battery and then there's an unexpected power outage and your battery's already empty.
Right.
I so appreciate your honesty.
Okay.
So
This-
I mean, it
that's
just
so-
depends.
Okay. Yeah.
It can do
Yeah.
whatever you want it
But
to
what
do.
I could do is, like, if I see a storm brewing in the Gulf, I go ahead and get those batteries fully charged, and I'm ready.
Mm-hmm.
But on a regular basis, on a day like today, there's nothing happening. We're
Right.
not going to have a freeze. We don't have a hurricane coming. I should use the power.
Right. Well, and the in-phase
So-
system that they quote is actually an AC coupled system. So technically, those batteries are charging off of. It's not really the grid, but
Right.
Right.
we could not put the solar, and those batteries would charge off the grid
Okay.
and then discharge into your home.
Right.
So the way it works once you add solar is they communicate with each other and only charge at sort of a rate that the solar is providing,
Right.
so that you're not charging from the grid.
Right.
But in the event that a hurricane's coming
charge from the
and you
grid,
have
back it up.
terrible weather,
Yeah.
you could still fill
Charge
your
from the
batteries.
grid.
Right.
Okay.
So you're never in a scenario where you can't charge.
I want to use as much of the power that I can on a regular daily
Right.
basis.
Yeah, yeah.
And buy as little
Sure.
from the grid as I possibly need, and they can have all the excess and give me a credit.
And
That's
that credit
kind of
will
how
be
I'm-
very minimal.
Yeah, I
And
know,
legal.
yeah. But I'm contributing
Yes.
That's right.
to their bottom
And
line,
somebody-
right?
and
They're-
somebody will
I'm
use that
selling
power,
them-
yes.
I'm
Somebody
selling
will
them the
use it,
power, and
yes.
my next door neighbor's
Uh-huh.
paying the bill for it. So maybe
So-
they'll buy me a Christmas present.
There you go. Get some cookies.
Yeah.
Should we send you the power plan to somehow mark off which circuits, or is that something that the builder does? Or
I don't
Carly
think we-
needs to figure out which circuits she wants in there.
Well, we do know which they are, so I guess, do I just need to pull one of the pages off of the plan and decide?
I think it's more. I think in order to set up the panel, we need to be a little more in depth of like these plugs,
Specific plugs,
this
specific light fixtures.
appliance, these light fixtures.
So how do we do that? Do you have that on your electrical
I have
plan?
Actually, Martin did. Martin Sunday did combine the power plan and the lighting plan,
Okay.
so both are on. So we can look at that.
It is.
I would also put your internet router in there. That's the
Yes.
thing people forget about.
Yes, yes.
Depending, I don't remember how many batteries were in this, but you typically get 125 amps coming off of an in-phase battery system. So as like a surge load. So as long as that sub panel is rated lower than that, you're not gonna overfill it.
And we kind of have a range already. We had already had some discussions and some emails going back and forth with kind of a preliminary list of what the things were. The fact there's only one air handling unit, there's only one HVAC unit that's
And
going
that's the only thing that's gonna be a
That's the biggest
particular
draw.
size of that and your refrigerator. Because I mean, lights, LEDs don't
Yeah,
pull
yeah,
anything.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
it's really the air handler is the biggest one.
So
Okay.
it's going to be
Well,
it's going to be more of a matter of kind of fine tuning a range we already know of. So it's probably going to be a pretty fast meeting.
Then maybe what we'll do is we'll sit down and we can kind of lay it out. You can come,
Yeah.
you can be at the meeting, or we can do it. We could send it to them.
Yeah,
And just-
I'm kind of like Walker. I mean, I kind of have an idea of where we are. I have no huge concerns.
let's do that,
So
Carl.
Walker said his only thing that he needs from the builder is that there's conduit being run, because they'll pull the wire and they'll attach all the batteries and they do all the solar panel installation. It's his crew. It's not subbed out or so.
Yeah.
The city's making us run solar conduits anyways.
Yeah, we have that
So
in our scope.
on all
Okay.
houses, so.
Okay, oh, really?
Yeah, they're
all
making
the
it.
construction, whether you're buying solar or not, it's
The
prepped
city's
for
been
it.
making it.
That's good,
Yeah.
good.
So does that, so then should we, Carly and I meet, kind of circle what we want, where we want it, send it to you guys just so you can give us the thumbs up? Yeah, that'll work.
That would be great.
And
And
then it goes
then-
to your electrician and we're done.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And then he comes back like in June to put
Yeah,
the stuff in, right?
We like to be really
Last
toward
one
the
in.
end. I've had scenarios where like we've put in the solar and then the painter has come to paint the gutters and they've oversprayed all over the solar panels. And like,
yeah.
We want to
Okay.
be the
Last
last people.
one in.
Like we
Like
can
carpet.
come before landscaping, but
Yeah.
nothing else.
Yeah, we'll make sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we
Well,
could
that's
go ahead and
exciting.
put the batteries in earlier
Uh-huh.
if that's helpful. Like we can put kind of all the wiring and the batteries and those components, and then just add the solar at the end. I just
Mm-hmm.
don't want I don't want anything to happen to them.
Right. I agree.
So we've got plenty of time. This is
Okay.
easy and flexible, and
So when I sign the contract, you buy all the product and store it so that it's ready to go when I'm ready?
no.
No. Never works that way. Okay.
So the payment breakout, we do 10%. That does engineering and
Get you
permitting.
okay.
And then whenever you're ready to buy materials is that next draw.
Okay.
So honestly, since probably none of this is going to happen till June, I
Yeah.
would probably wait and just sign a contract in June. That way
Yeah.
you have whatever those prices are instead of.
Right.
I don't like change orders.
Yeah.
I would
You
rather
think the
just.
prices are going to go up or down?
I'm
It's a
just-
gamble?
I would
I'm
love
just gonna
to.
be
I would
doing
love
this
to
between
guess.
now and June, just like go down.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
they certainly could.
They could go down.
They have been trending down over the
Okay.
last couple months.
All right. All right.
That doesn't. I
I
mean,
mean that they'll continue that trend.
no
Okay.
promises.
All right.
They have been trending down.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, I would wait and do everything when you're actually ready. for
Ready to
this.
go.
You don't need us yet.
Well, we could watch the pricing, and you could tell me when I need to buy. How's that? You could be like the trader, the stock trader. Don't buy yet. Wait. Okay, now do it. Or what's the car app that to sell your car? Sell it now. Funny. Okay, well we'll do
but yeah,
that.
you don't
Okay.
need us yet.
Okay.
As long as
All
there's
right.
some conduit going to that sub panel,
Right.
we're good.
Okay, but we have a plan.
Cool. We do.
All right. Well, thank you. Well,
Absolutely. It's
nice
good to see you.
again. Welcome.
Absolutely.
Yep.
It's good to meet you. It's good to see you again. See you. Yeah. Take care. Nice to meet you. See you.
Okay, HVAC, huh?